HBCU Game Day, and it's Selection Show Monday, and I have the head coach of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, Johnny Hernandez, coming off a thrilling bottom of the ninth walk-off homer to win the SWAC Championship. Coach, how are you feeling today?
Feeling good, after all the emotions that went through this past week and, the thrilling game, yesterday, just having an opportunity to really sit back and put everything in perspective. Just very proud of, all of our student athletes, our assistant coaches, and everyone that's around and has been involved in our program for the last couple of years for an opportunity to, send the Wildcats back to a regional since 2017.
Coach, we can't go any further than sit and discuss what happened yesterday. What a game of ebb and flows, a chess match between two of who I feel are two of the best baseball coaches I know. You and Coach Jamie Shoup, it was a chess match. It was shuffling players. It was making decisions. Just talk about how are you able to maintain with all of this going on, the highs and lows of the game yesterday?
Well, the biggest thing, right, is you can't let the highs get too high and the lows get too low, right? It's a 9 inning ball game. You have success one inning, you may not have success the next inning. So the thing is just keeping everything with the three C's, man: calm, cool, collective. And our guys have bought into that approach. And there's never been a panic in our dugout. And I think that we put ourselves, because of the body of work throughout the course of the season, with how grueling our not only conference schedule is, but our non-conference weekend and our non-conference midweek games are. Put us in a position to believe, and the biggest thing for us is we wanted to have an opportunity to win the game in the last 3 innings. We want to win the back third. And, every move was calculated. Every move was talked about amongst the coaching staff, and we came together and, our guys executed at the end of the day. So just very proud of, just the work ethic and just how the whole game played out. And I think the biggest thing, it showcased SWAC baseball at an elite level. And that's what I take away from the championship game. And, I've said it before, Vaughn, if people would give HBCU baseball and the SWAC baseball conference an opportunity, they'd be surprised as to how well the caliber of talent we have here in our conference. And that's attributed to the hard work of all the head coaches in our
I've,
conference.
I've talked to a lot of people in the media, and they said exactly that. That was a high level baseball game on any level. The strategies by the coaches, the execution by the players, knowing that both teams were dealing with players they didn't have access to with injuries, but to just continue to shuffle showed a high level of coaching among, like I said, two of the best coaches in baseball. You both have ties to Team USA baseball, and you've been successful. And Coach, you came into a program in 2018 that had immense success, 17 MEAC titles, from Beverland to Melendez. The coaches had done just tremendous things. And Beverland, in his last year, beat the University of Florida in the championship round and was one win away from winning that regional. And then you come in from ASA College and take over that program. What was your mindset coming in to make sure that you maintain the momentum that had been established?
Well, I'm not here, right, without the success of both, Coach Beverland and Coach Melendez. I think that, those two guys did great things here in our program. And, for us is to be able to get the program back where it needs to be. And that's at the top of, right now, what is the Southwestern Athletic Conference, right? And when I took the job, we were in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, and it was an opportunity for us to get right back to it, right? Get back to, having that championship mindset day in and day out. I wear that on my sleeve every day. Not only am I representing, myself and our baseball program, I'm representing every head coach that came before me that has given me an opportunity to be at this position in our program where it is right now. And the mindset doesn't change. Coach Bev did a great job in 2017. Like you said, they took Florida to the regional final. Our goal every year, or one of our goals, is to go ahead and win a regional, and we don't shy away from it. And I think that, if we put our student athletes in the position to play a tough schedule, day in and day out, that'll provide dividends, down the road, as it did for us this week. So now it's a different phase for our program. Right now, we get back to a regional for the first time since 2017. And I'm just excited about the opportunity and for our student athletes to be able to compete at a high level on the national stage.
Speaking of playing a tough schedule during the season, you played Florida State earlier this year, and you will be going to the Tallahassee Regional where you will be playing Florida State again. So that experience should pay off. It was a tight game when you played the Seminoles, a two-point game.
Yeah, it was a two-run game. It was 9-7. We had a runner at second and the tying run in the top of the ninth inning with 2 outs up to bat. And, we had an opportunity to tie it. So, I think the biggest thing for our club is we don't worry about who we're playing. We just control what we can, and we worry about, our brand of baseball and what we want to do and we need to execute. Going into a Florida State regional with three really good teams. You have Mississippi State from the SEC. You have Northeastern, who, has the longest winning streak right now in the country. But at the end of the day, you still have to play the game. They get the same amount of time working out and practicing. Just don't worry about things you can't control, and we have to worry about what we can control, and that's our attitude, hustle, and we just got to execute.
Coach, you came in once again to go back to the point we made earlier. You came in taking over for Beverland. Your first year was a tough year as you transitioned in. Then COVID hit, which really took the next 2 years away from baseball, but you came back in 2022 and had a 27-win season. Since then, you've won at least 32 games a year. This year, you're currently 37-21. How great is it to have built the program back? Now it's truly Johnny Hernandez's team. How great is it to have built the program back to the standard that it was when you took over the program?
It's so much, that goes into it. And Vaughn, like you alluded to, right, the pandemic and the 21 year, there was questionable times, if we were ever going to get back on the field and do what we love. But, I think that we took the mindset of, punching in that clock, that blue collar approach, lunch pail mentality. It doesn't matter. Just worry about what's in front of you and worry about what you can control, and steadily flow in the process. When we came back from that COVID opt-out year, it was the 22 year was the let's stabilize the program. We brought in a ton of JUCO guys just to stabilize it. Then 23, it's like, all right, now here we are right now. We got to the championship game and fell short against, FAMU. And, every year there's just a building block. It's been bricks putting together, to sustain the consistency in the success of our program. And we're just trying to take it to another level and kind of raise the bar and raise the standard each and every year. And that starts with administrative support. This doesn't happen without the support of, Coach Theus, George Bright, Scott Summers, all of the support staff, right? Then the work that our assistant coaches do, man, Coach Cartaya, Coach Sanchez, Coach Allen, they do a phenomenal job developing our guys, on and off the field. And then it goes back to the student athlete. It's getting not the best player, the right fit for our program at that time and what we need. And again, they trust us with their careers, not only on the field, but off the field as well. And I have to commend our players too, because we had a 3.5 GPA in the fall and a 3.5 GPA in the spring. So that's back-to-back championships in the classroom that ultimately lead to what we have right now, a SWAC baseball title in front of us. So it's been a grind, but I've enjoyed every part of the process. And you start to see the fruit of the labor right now with how the program has evolved in the last couple of years.
Yes, I talked to Reggie Theus, and he was very gloating, as he does when he and I talk. we have this relationship that's really amazing. He answered the phone, SWAC champions. I was like, congratulations, congratulations. I call him coach. Congratulations, coach. And he's ecstatic, and he just always commends you on being the right guy and going about doing things the right way. You always have been academic. At ASA College, your students had a 3.2 overall GPA while you were there. So that's very important, and especially in the HBCU realm, that we make sure that student athletes go ahead and graduate and make sure that the APR is taken care of. And so, Coach, a few days away from visiting Tallahassee once again, what's the mentality? What's going into your preparation as you get ready to visit the Seminoles in the capital city?
We're not going to change who we are. We're going to go about our business the same way we've done for the last 8-9 months. Again, we're not worried about who we're playing. I mean, obviously, we know that the first game is going to be against Florida State. And, I think putting our guys in an experience all year, playing the big schools, it's going to pay, for us. So this is just another feather in the cap for our program. It's another building block for us to continue to, develop our program and continue to evolve. And, we're not going to change anything. We gave the guys the off day, got in at about 5:30 in the morning from the road trip to Birmingham. this morning and woke up early for the selection show. So just gave them the day off. They deserved it. They earned it, and just proud of the guys and the opportunity that's there for us. It's us against everybody.
All right, Mother Mary's Wildcats are heading to the NCAA Regional in Tallahassee this weekend. HBCU Game Day will be there to provide coverage. So you'll see me around your dugout this weekend, Coach, as usual. I think the guys know me by now. But
Yep.
it's a great situation, and looking forward to you representing the HBCU world in the baseball championships.
Absolutely. And if there's any cousins of ours that rock the orange and green, if they want to come out and support, I think it'll be huge, for our program and for the SWAC to have everybody involved to come out and support the Wildcats, as we're representing not only our program, our university, but the Southwestern Athletic Conference and the HBCU space as a whole.
Oh, I can guarantee you they'll be out there. Every time that's happened, they've been there. And at some time, it's now SWAC against the world. So you're representing the SWAC. So good luck this weekend, and I'll see you guys at Dick Howser Stadium.
All right, you got it, Vaughn. Thank you so much.
Okay, buddy.